So let's take a look at quiz 3, question 1, our timeshare remake. And again, this is a question that relates to a case study that we looked at in module 3. Timeshare remake is that case study. You would review that, you would review the Excel spreadsheet, you would review the case study video, the step-by-step video, and then you apply the same steps with the following adjustments in order to be able to answer this question for the timeshare franchise back this summer. The budget is adjusted to be $15 million for this film. The production incentive is changing because you're now shooting the film in Germany and Belgium, where Germany will provide you with 20% of the entire budget as an incentive. Belgium will provide you with 30% of the below-the-line portion of your budget. You work with a local co-producer in order to obtain the subsidies in accordance with the production cash flow plan, and you pay this German co-producer 5%. This subsidy is paid out in accordance with a bonded production cash flow plan, which means you do not have to engage an incentive lender. The regions will pay for this subsidy themselves. So Germany and Belgium will release the money in accordance with the production cash flow plan, and you will give the German producers and the Belgian producers 10% of your profits. In this case study, you will not use any brand integration components. The pre-sales will be 20% of the budget, and the down payment for the pre-sales will be 10%. The US distribution is managed as a direct-to-consumer route with Amazon Prime, which we've done before, where you place the movie on Amazon and get paid for views. And in this case, you have 128,972 views, and each viewer paid $9.99 to watch the movie. This is after you did the A24 release, which is a rent-a-studio release that we did before, and you have the box office, etc. in the prior timeshare case study. The question then is, what is the producer profit? What is your profit at the end? How much is paid to the investor from profits and premiums? And what is the investor ROI? Let's take a look at the finance plan here. So we have the total budget at $15 million. The above the line portion of that is $6,750,000, and the below the line and post portion is $8,250,000. So that gets us to our $15 million budget, which is increased from what we had before. There's no changes in regards to the international sales estimates, and the US we will talk about in a minute. There is a change in regards to the pre-sales. We're now having our pre-sales be 25% of the budget, and the down payment installment that is made on signing of the contracts when these pre-sales are concluded by our sales agent will be 10%. So altogether, we have 25% of the budget being $15 million, $3,750,000 in pre-sale contracts. The buyers will pay $375,000 in down payments. So that leaves us with a payment that is due on delivery for these pre-sales of $3,375,000. The pre-sale loan is going to be done at a discounted 80%. So we are discounting $3,750,000 to 80%, giving us $3 million of our loan amount, which then will, of course, have to deduct the down payment that we already received, which is what the bank will allocate. And that will get us to a pre-sale loan amount of $2,625,000. Let's look at the gap loan. The unsold rights is $9 million. Normally, we would now look at $4.5 million for a gap loan, wouldn't we? But 20% is our cap. So we will not get more than 20% of the budget ever for any gap loan. So that means our gap loan is $3 million. So the senior loan altogether is $5,625,000, which is comprised of the gap loan of $3 million and the pre-sale loan of $2,625,000. Now the bank will give us a blended interest on both of these loans at 12% and charges us a loan fee. So $675,000 is being deducted as the interest charge, and the loan fee of $50,000 is being deducted, leaving us with $4.9 million that we have available to cover our budget, in addition to the down payment that we already received when the distributors did our pre-sales of $375,000. So those are the two first items that we have now generated to cover a portion of our budget. In this next section of our finance plan, we're looking at the production incentive, which is now different than what we had in the earlier timeshare remake. We're getting 20% of the entire budget from Germany. That is 20% of 15 million. That is 3 million. And we're getting 30% on just the below the line portion. And that is 30% of 8,250,000. So the co-producer will charge a 5% fee, which is what we're paying them. So we're deducting this. And then we have our entire incentive amount generated for the production in Germany and Belgium. Music publishing is 100,000. There's no change there. And then the equity investment has obviously changed based on the new financing elements. So let's take a look at our recoupment plan. So first, let's look at our US distribution. We have $5 million in box office. The theater, AMC in this case, will have 35% of that allocated to them. That is $1,750,000. The balance will then be $3,250,000. A24 charges a 25% rent a studio fee on that, a distribution fee, so that's $812,500. The P&A amount that we have allocated to this rent a studio deal is $1 million. The P&A fee is $200,000. So if we are deducting all of this from our revenues of $3,250,000, we are left with $1,237,500 in revenues from the US. Now, the direct-to-consumer model, after we've done the theatrical lease, is absolutely valid. So we can take the movie now and place it on a direct-to-consumer platform like Amazon, which is what we've done. And then people will download the movie and pay for it, like you've seen. So in this case, during the time, let's say, normally this would take about 6 months to 9 months approximately to generate this kind of revenue. So we have 128,972 viewers or downloads at $9.99 each, which will give us 1,288,430. Amazon will charge us a fee of 35% in this case. So 450,951 is being deducted. They're also charging some expenses of 5,000. So our DTC revenue for the US will be $832,480,000. So then when we are summarizing our US revenue, our international revenue, and we're deducting our down payment, we end up with the total revenue of $14,444,980,000. Let's go to the next phase of our recoupment plan and look at our expenses and repayments. The senior loan is paid outside the collection account, and the senior loan was $5,625,000, as you remember, which includes all the interest charges and fees. And if I deduct that from our revenues of $14,444,980, I'm left with a balance in the collection account of $8,819,980. The collection agent charges 1% of that, 88,200. Our sales agent is charging us a 15% sales fee, and that is going to only be charged on the international distribution revenues, being 12,750,000. The equity investment of 4,423,750 is now being repaid, together with its premium of 20% of that, totaling 884,750. So when we look at all our expenses, we end up with 7,309,200, leaving us with net revenues of 1,515,780 after we're deducting everything. And that includes the expenses of 7,309,220, as well as the senior loan of 5,625. So altogether, we're left with 1,510,780 in net revenues. So we're now doing our profit participation payments. 20% of that goes to the talent pool. We had that before, and 10% goes to our co-producer, being 151,078. The equity investor gets 50% of the equity investment they made to us in relation to the budget. So that would be 14.75%, because they originally gave us 29.49% in investment to the movie. So they get profits of 222,777. Altogether, our profits now are generating 676,011, which leaves the producer with 834,769 when you're deducting 676,11 from the net revenues of 1,510,780. So the equity investor invested 4,423,750, and they generated premium of 884,750, profits of 222,777. So total revenues that they generated on their investment is 1,107,527, which reflects an ROI of 25%.